Sis, in a while Xiaochang will go to your place. I guess he will make some unreasonable demands. If you agree, you should agree with him. If you don't agree, don't blame him. Both of us are doing it for your own good. My name is Li Ming. I was pregnant with my ex-boyfriend, and my milk was abnormally abundant after the accidental abortion, which brought me a lot of trouble. From time to time, I needed to change the clothes on my body. For this reason I could only put on a breast pad and did not wear close-fitting clothes. It is also because of the abundant milk, causing my body to be more mature, that aspect of thirst more. Today I was playing a single game on my bed when I suddenly got a call from my sister. She actually said that her brother-in-law was coming over and would make unreasonable demands. Before I could think much about it, the knocker sounded. Sis, are you home? I'm your brother-in-law Zhang. I hurriedly stood up, put away the small toys on the bed, blushed and looked down at my clothes. I don't know what to think. When I thought of Zhang Chang's strong body, I actually fantasized about it, and even subconsciously didn't change my clothes. When I came to the door and opened it, I saw Zhang Chang blushing even more. My sister's vision of choosing men is the same as mine, and she likes those who are tall and strong. The robust brother-in-law Zhang Chang is also like this, very consistent with my aesthetics. 1 meter 9 tall, covered with muscle blocks, dark face, the whole person is strong and a cow. Probably because he didn't expect that I was actually wearing only a nightgown, Zhang Chang froze and then gave a fiery look in front of me. Sis, did Nan tell you what happened just now? I shook my head and opened the door wider to let Zhang Chang in. Sis didn't get specific with me, only that you would be coming over. When Zhang Chang walked in, his strong body brushed right in front of me because the door was narrower. Arms were brushing against my towering. Zhang Chang froze, his eyes meaningfully looking down in front of me. I only a little regret, just now focusing on fantasy bold did not change clothes, inside or nothing to wear the state, Zhang Chang this touch must have felt. I also don't he know if he will. I lowered my head and didn't he say anything. Inside, however, there is a sense of satisfaction. Zhang Chang's eyes swept and must have seen the vague scenery exposed in front of my body, because he gasped more violently. Originally, because of my sister's relationship, I thought that Zhang Chang would just take a look and forget about it, but I didn't expect him to stop his body and condescendingly stare at me without removing his eyes. Sister, I came here this time to find you to discuss something. Zhang Chang turned around and closed the door behind him, his body even closer to me, his eyes still staring dead ahead of me. I felt like he wanted to get his hands on me. His bluntness like this made me have some shame. How could he be so bold? Before, Zhang Chang didn't look like this kind of person either. Is it possible that his sister didn't feed him enough, making him want to steal food? Zhang Chang swallowed his saliva and said, Sis, let me ask you a more personal question. Is your milk particularly abundant? Nan said to me before that those milks brought you a lot of trouble. My heart fluttered when I was asked this by Zhang Chang, and coupled with his scorching eyes, I was a little tingly all over. Thinking of the phone call my sister gave me earlier, I subconsciously nodded. Indeed, I have a bit too much milk. Just after saying that I suddenly felt a little tickled. Looking down I realized that because Zhang Chang was close to me and asking these personal questions again, it made my body swing. I didn't hold back and my milk came out again. The clothes in front of me were wet, and a milky odor instantly swirled out. Zhang Chang sniffed deeply with his nose as if he had discovered a new continent. He swallowed his saliva. Sister, if this is really the case, can you help? Nan and I are raising a child right now. If you have enough milk, can you help feed the child? It's not good to keep giving the child formula. When did you guys adopt a baby? Doubt made me forget my embarrassment and looked up at Zhang Chang. Zhang Chang's eyes looked straight at my front, making me feel a tickle in front of me, and with a poof, more milk flowed. The pajamas were wet and the outline was coming out. I let out an ouch, and my remaining sanity made me quickly turn around, wanting to go change my clothes. Zhang Chang was my brother-in-law after all, and it was too embarrassing. I reached the bedroom there and was about to close the door when Zhang Chang came after me and said, It's not really an adoption, it's our boss's child. The boss has left the country to let us raise it for a while, and will pay several tens of thousands of dollars when the time comes. Sis, if you can help feed the child, all this money will be given to you, just help out sis. It was only then that I realized what exactly the unreasonable request my sister was talking about was. Listening to Zhang Chang's words, I was shaken inside. It's a waste to waste all this milk, and it's not bad to feed a child and still make money. Then. Okay, I will go to your house to feed the child today. Seeing me agree, Zhang Chang seems to be very happy. His eyes are still staring straight in front of me. I'm about to change my clothes. He is actually still so bold. Seeing that he had no intention of leaving, I could only remind him, I have to change my clothes, or you can wait for me in the living room. Zhang Chang heard my words, but his eyes didn't move away. Instead he said jokingly, Auntie has half a brother-in-law's ass, sis, it's not like I can do anything about it if I take a look. It already flushed hard of me hearing him say that. I only felt my body getting hotter, and the milk in front of my body flowed faster. Seeing that the clothes were soaked, the front was covered with a patch of milk stains. All my body was sticky and greasy, and it really wasn't going to work if I didn't change my clothes. I don't care about driving him away, and I changed my clothes with a blushing face. Zhang Chang is also a thick-skinned person, actually staring at me without blinking as I took off my clothes. I only felt a great deal of shame, but being stared at by the hot eyes was inexplicably a bit exciting. When I took off my outside skirt, Zhang Chang couldn't help but gulp a mouthful of water next to me. Sis, you're also too well developed, this place is as big as a cow. Being complimented by him like this, I blushed even more, my fair skin turning rosy. Nan would be good if she was like you. I can grab her there with one hand. I guess it's only half as big as yours. This sensitive topic made my body a little numb, but Zhang Chang didn't seem to care and continued to talk. He even walked towards me as he spoke, with eyes that looked like they wanted to eat me. Sister, I want to know what it's like to have such a large model grasped in my hand. He had walked over to me and his two big hands were about to reach out towards me. Dreamy, my house plumbing is broken, lend me your tools. Just then came a knock on the door. It was Auntie Wang from next door who came to borrow tools from me. I hurriedly changed my clothes and walked out amidst Zhang Chang's regretful look. Luckily, Auntie Wang came in time, otherwise I guess Zhang Chang would have pounced on me. After Auntie Wang left, I followed Zhang Chang to his home. When my sister saw me, she handed me the baby. Sis, you're finally here, this baby just doesn't like milk powder, so feed him quickly. I took the child and wanted to breastfeed him, but just thought of Zhang Chang, who was still standing next to me with some hesitation. Before, Zhang Chang was almost on me. Now that my sister was watching from the side, I blushed and opened my mouth. Then I will carry the child to the bedroom to feed. I did not expect that my sister did not care at all. It's all family. What's this, sister, you just feed it here, the child is hungry, I'll go and make you some dinner. My sister's words surprised me a bit. She actually didn't mind Zhang Chang seeing me breastfeeding. But I was still more or less embarrassed in front of my sister and carried the baby to the bedroom. While breastfeeding, I always felt a line of sight staring at me. Subconsciously turning my head to look, I realized that the bedroom door was open a crack, and a fiery line of sight was staring at me. It was none other than Zhang Chang. Zhang Chang was actually peeking at me breastfeeding. His eyes were staring tightly at my front, and that gaze was like it had grown hands, making the front of my body itch along with it. I wanted to turn away, but I ghostly straightened my body, making my high rise even more. I don't know whether it was stimulated by him or not, I felt that my milk became more abundant, like a broken faucet constantly bubbling out. It's just that small children have limited meals, and after drinking for a while, they were full and refused to ask for more. But my milk kept flowing, and I couldn't stop it. Sister, I recently had a lot of socializing. Intestines are not good, can you drink some milk to make up for it? Zhang Chang actually pushed open the door and walked in, staring at my faucet and asked. Still gulping continuously. I thought that it would be a waste if it flowed out anyway, so I might as well give it to him to drink, so I put the child on the bed and stood up. So? Then I'll go squeeze some out for you. The voice was so small that I could barely hear myself. After all, it was giving my brother-in-law milk, and I really felt too ashamed. Unexpectedly, Zhang Chang tugged on my arm, his eyes never moving from in front of me since the beginning. I've heard that warm is better for the stomach, putting it in a bowl loses its effect, I want to drink some fresh. I instantly raised my head to look at Zhang Chang, my face red to the point of dripping blood. You. My sister can be right there in the kitchen cooking. It's not even if he peeked at me breastfeeding, he actually wanted to. The more I think about it, the more I feel shy. The red color spreads to the roots of my ears. Even my body can't help but tremble. Zhang Chang came in front of me, his big hand grabbed at my body, causing me to grunt out softly. Sis, you'll get sick if it's clogged here for a long time. It's just right that I'll help you unclog it. He finished his hand harder and the faucet ran faster. Just put the baby on the bed after feeding. Sis, you take a rest too. I'll call you when the meal is ready. My sister's voice came from the kitchen. I hurriedly tried to push Zhang Chang away. Don't. It's just that my body was all soft from Zhang Chang's rubbing, and my hands didn't have any strength, so pushing on Zhang Chang's body was like scratching it. I heard Zhang Chang's breathing become rapid, and the next moment he lowered his head. The strong stimulation made my body tremble, but my sister was still there. Zhang Chang was actually so reckless. I don't even have the strength to refuse, and I even enjoy it a little. The faucet broke even more. Zhang Chang picked me up and put me on the bed, quickly pressed over. I had already forgotten where I was at the moment, and only wanted to sink into it. Woohoo! The child on the bed suddenly cried out, clearing my disoriented mind. Zhang Chang wanted to continue, but the child kept crying nonstop. My sister who was cooking in the kitchen also asked loudly. Sis, why is the child suddenly crying? I probed one hand towards the child and found that his face was a little hot and red. It should be a fever. The child has a high fever, hurry and send him to the hospital. I completely came to my senses and said to Zhang Chang. Zhang Chang was still a little reluctant but knew the importance of the matter and hurriedly got off of me. I carried the child out of the bedroom. Nan, the child has a fever, let's send him to the hospital. What makes me a little strange is that when I heard the child crying, my sister actually didn't run over the first time, but was still cooking in the kitchen. Until she heard my words, she came out from the kitchen and after a glance at Zhang Chang she headed to the hospital with me. Who was worried about the child's condition also did not think much. After arriving at the hospital and putting on Ensu, the doctor recommended a night of observation, so we prepared to stay at the hospital for the night. Zhang Chang went to buy some food and came back, and after eating, my sister fell asleep with her arms around the child. I can't sleep, the milk is still coming out of my body, which makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, so I went to the bathroom and prepared to let it out a little bit. I just walked into the bathroom and lifted up my clothes when the bathroom door was pushed open from outside. When I saw the person who came in, I immediately blushed, and it was actually Zhang Chang. Zhang Chang came in and his eyes were fixed in front of me. Sister, I didn't drink enough before, I want some more. I instantly understood what he meant. Previously, he was interrupted by the child at his house, and now that the child has a fever he actually wants to talk to me. Again. My sister could be right outside, she might wake up at some point, and he had the audacity to come in and try to continue what he had done before. I quickly put down my clothes and refused him. No, the child is still feverish, I will go out first. After saying that I was about to leave the bathroom, Zhang Chang grabbed my arm and held me in his arms the next moment. Good sister, I know you want to too, let me help you. I was held tightly in his arms, the softness in front of my body rubbing against his solid chest, making me even more sensitive there. The milk also started to flow even more. Zhang Chang became even more excited at the sight, his eyes hot as if they were going to burn me, and his breathing became rapid. Worried that my sister would hear the commotion, I panicked and tried to push him away. Don't he be like this, Nan is still outside. Zhang Chang heard this instead of letting go of me, but instead held me down on the sink and whispered in my ear. This is not more exciting, sis, you have to keep your voice down, don't be heard by Nan. Finished saying he lifted up my clothes, lowered his head. I was tormented by his actions and my body was hot, constantly trembling. One of his hands probed into the middle of my short skirt and ripped my chaps off. I didn't realize he was actually going more and more overboard. The two of us were pressed together in the narrow space, and I was so paralyzed with mud from his torture that I wanted to refuse but could only breathe in sharply. I even enjoyed it a little. What was left of my sanity was starting to fade away. Whoa. A child's cry suddenly came from outside. It was probably because the previous medicine had worn off and the child had a fever again, crying out in distress. My sister was awakened by the cries and was continuously coaxing the child. I immediately wanted to push Zhang Chang away and go out, but I didn't realize that Zhang Chang's eyes were red and he didn't care about it and wanted to continue. The child has been burned like this, although it is not his own child, but all soft-hearted people cannot do nothing. Zhang Chang, however, seemed to have only desire in his eyes, completely disregarding the child's body. This makes me suddenly feel that he is a bit scary. Even the child could not make him soft, this heart must be hard to what extent. Under inexplicable fear, I pushed him away. Zhang Chang was a bit reluctant, but the doctor heard the cries and came to the ward, so Zhang Chang could only give up. The doctor took the child's temperature, and the child was still crying. My sister held him and kept coaxing. The doctor suggested taking the child for a checkup to make sure there was no infection in the lungs. Zhang Chang walked out of the bathroom and accompanied his sister out of the hospital room. Luckily, my sister's eyes were on the child and didn't notice my absence. I was ready to pack up my clothes and go out to help, but I saw Zhang Chang's cell phone that had fallen on the floor. It was probably because he was only focused on tossing me just now, and he didn't even know that he dropped his cell phone. I picked up the phone and wanted to take it out and give it to Zhang Chang when I suddenly saw a message received on my phone. In the hospital bathroom, it's exciting to think about it, you quickly send the picture over. Your sister-in-law is simply superb, the front of that huge I want to drink 2 mouthfuls. Great aunt? Hospital bathroom. My face instantly changed, and I subconsciously opened Zhang Chang's cell phone. His cell phone was not locked, and I kept flipping through his cell phone, and the more I looked at it, the more my heart couldn't stop sinking. The hand holding the phone was trembling. It turned out that this was all a plot by my brother-in-law. The reason why he wasn't so worried about the child was because there was no boss at all, the child was bought back by them from someone else. They just wanted to use the child as an excuse to trick me into coming to the house, and then Zhang Chang intentionally stayed with me to take advantage of the